race of the year, and it's now time for the Superbike race. It's here, the last ever FIM CEV Repsol Superbike European Championship race is about to begin. Carmelo Morales will go out as the undisputed champion of the class after winning the title in Jerez, his 11th title in the CEV itself. But young Max Scheib has a point to prove, who will go out as the last ever Superbike European Championship race winner. Stay right here to find out. My name is Harry Lloyd, and joining me for the penultimate race of the day and the season is Dakota Momola. We had drama right till the end in Jerez, and it doesn't look to be any different here today. With 9 lefts and 5 rights, Valencia circuit is a compact and technical stadium circuit. Great for fans wanting to come and watch, and very difficult for riders to master, especially in these tricky conditions. Of course, this is our second time here this year. We did start the year here. We had some drama here with the tyres. The race had to be shortened. No such issues now. Carmelo Morales failed to finish that race, but since then he has only finished off the top step of the podium once. Max Scheib, huge disappointment in Jerez, as we saw. Dakota ran out of fuel on the last lap. 2 corners from the end. Could have potentially taken the fight to this race, but alas, it wasn't to be.
Well, as we saw, luck plays out so much in this sport, and it is unfortunate for him. I think Carmelo was not expecting that championship win at all in that race. So, but there he is, Scheib, you know, pole position. Look at his stats. I mean, he's incredible. Really solid rider.
It's just that unfortunately, with all those twos are ones for Carmelo.
And I think you told me he did a wild card. And
yes, he did. He wild carded in the Stock 1000 Championship alongside the World Superbike Championship in Jerez. Got on pole, got demoted off pole position due to a small technical infringement, just due to the difference between the CEV bike and what the rules are there. But then he went on to actually go and win the race. So coming here with a lot of talent. New look for Carmelo Morales this weekend in the classic Yamaha speed block livery.
Look how many ones.
Exactly, a lot of ones. And, you know, as we said, 11 titles in total in the CEV. You know, more wins than I can count. He had 37 victories before we even went to Jerez, and then he went and did the double there. So, you know, this could potentially be his 40th win today. Absolutely incredible stats from him. And then, yeah, in that absolutely beautiful Yamaha speed block yellow, made famous by King Kenny Roberts in Grand Prix racing, and always a pleasure to see. Then third on the grid is this man here, Anthony Del Hall. We've seen him be in contention quite frequently. Just a note on that crawl down the bottom of your screen. The race will start at 1:15 local time. That is in about 8 minutes. Just due to the delay we had at the start of the day due to a fire in the Moto3 race. If you haven't seen that one and you're just joining us now, do be sure to go back and see that one, because it was one of the craziest race starts I've ever seen. Anthony Del Hall will certainly be hoping for a bit of a calmer race. He's been in podium contention a fair bit. Him and Alejandro Medina, who's starting a bit further back, have been dicing it up for the podium a fair little bit to this season so far. And Anthony Del Hall will be one to watch. Here is the man behind him, Alejandro Medina, the Spaniard, number 55. His rookie year in the big bike class, but as you can see from the right-hand side of your screen, a fair few podiums there, and also some really solid 4th place finishes. Really good results for him. Interestingly enough, as I said, we did race here at the start of the year. Medina is actually half a second slower than he was at the start of the year. Max Scheib is the only rider inside the top 6 to go faster than he did at the start of the year around this Valencia circuit yesterday during qualifying. It is a packed out grid today for the Superbike European Championship. We have a fair few riders coming in for one-off rides. And lots of familiar names as well. Here is Christoph Pontzen, who starts 4th on the grid. A familiar name to anyone who follows World Superbikes. He's also raced in British Superbikes and only 20 years old, so a lot of experience for Christoph Pontzen. His first race of the year in this championship on that Yamaha R1. Interesting to see what he can do. Could he be a potential contender for the race win? We've seen only really Scheib and Morales challenge all year.
It looked really cold out there.
Yep. It does look a bit chilly. Nice fur neck thing for that lady there.
Actually, when I was racing in in a Russian team in the European 600 stock with Superbike, that Poisson was actually racing still in the stock 1000 class, and he wasn't a bad rider then. So he's definitely got experience. And should be really interesting to see what he can do in a Spanish race here. And I mean, next year there's no Superbike class, so it's not like he could stay here next year. But it'd be interesting to see where all these riders go, because there are some talented riders here, and maybe they can even go to Moto2 class and create a bigger field.
Yep, certainly, as you rightly said, this is the last ever race. This championship will be sort of absorbed into the Stock 1000 Championship alongside the World Superbike Championship, but lots of these riders aren't really too keen to go there. There's definitely lots of people looking at, as you said, Moto2, Moto America, BSB. We just had a child knock on our window trying to get into the commentary box.
I feel like we're in an aquarium and they're all staring at us.
Yes, here's Axel Marin. He's returning to the championship. He was racing here last year, but has been doing mostly endurance racing this year. Very common for French riders to do a lot of endurance racing, but he's back on a Yamaha after spending most of the year on a Kawasaki last year. So he's a hyper-aggressive rider and definitely one to keep an eye out for and your ear open. And our little child friends are back. Unfortunately, we don't have a camera to turn on them. As we continue to go down the grid, here is number 65, Ole Bjorn Plassen, the Norwegian rider on the Ducati. As we always say, the CEV, a great mix of nationalities here. Not many places you would have a Norwegian rider. We do actually have a fair few Brits here this weekend. Ash Beach, Ryan Gibson, Piers Hutchins are just some of the British riders who have come over here this weekend for the last race of the year, the last race ever. Of course, lots of those guys are racing in the British Club Championship, so now they've come over to try themselves at a bit of a higher level. Tire warmers are being
Another
removed.
reason why I love this last CV race is because we get a lot of wild cards from all over the world, a lot of different riders from different championships, so you kind of get another kind of vibe, and you see these other talented riders that you've never seen all year long, and it's a great opportunity too for other kids trying to find some teams for next year.
Exactly. And then we also have Yuramoto coming over from Japan. He races for Team Kagayama in the Japanese Championship. He's with JEG Racing on the Suzuki again. And here we have Rafid Topan. He's making his big bike debut. Looks like quite extensive duct taping going on there on his suit to cover up and put on some new sponsors for this weekend. As long as it gets the job done, then no worries about that. There you can see everybody leaving the grid. A very busy grid here in Valencia, hugely popular with the fans. Of course, CV does offer unrivaled levels of access across the weekend. And here we go. Here is the full starting grid. It is Max Scheib ahead of Carmelo Morales and Anthony Del Hall on the front row. Alejandro Medina leads Christoph Pontzen and Nico Macklin, who didn't seem to be on the grid, ahead of Fabrizio Perotti, Axel Marin, Ole Bjorn Plassen there, rounding out the top 9. Yuramoto there leads Topan. Great to see the Japanese rider in the top 10. Oscar Clement in 12th ahead of Ash Beach, Pierre Texier, Chris Cotton, Russell, Rob McNeely there, ahead of Pedro Rodriguez. Dumas there in 18th. Of course, we do have the Privateers Cup as well. Eric Morias there ahead of Javier Alves. Ryan Gibson in 21st. Benjamin Coleix. Guillermo Llano ahead of Roberto Blazquez. Mike Booth, Pierre Hutchins, Michael Peterson there as well. Then Mika Huglen, Philip Lagallo, and Juan Luis Ortiz. The three rear guard of the CEV, definitely some of the most experienced riders on the grid. All three guys out there to just enjoy themselves, and maybe a bit older than you'd expect to see on most racing grids, but no less enthusiastic. That is for certain. Can Scheib repeat his win from the start of the year, or will Morales go out as king? He is wearing King Kenny's livery. Can he do it and rock the CEV one last time? Only time will tell. This race will be 19 laps. As we said, once again, it will be the last ever European Superbike race. Unfortunately, still yet to see what will replace it next year. There are a fair few discussions ongoing, but hopefully we will have 3 championships. It is still quite nippy outside, definitely far from warm.
Steven felt a little bit bad about damaging, you know, the AGR bike. He was kind of apologizing to the boys because they got a lot of work to do tonight. But listen, he's done a great season, and like I said, you know, he's been always on that podium, except that one time for that tire issue. And yeah, not the best way to finish the championship, but still, he still has that #1 plate he could take home.
Yeah, exactly. The #1 plate is his. It is Carmelo Morales who has the #1 plate for this class. But can the #7 go up to the #1 box on the podium? Max Scheib coming off a stock 1000 win. The Chilean, former Supermoto champion on the BMW S1000RR, a formidable machine, has dominated races like the Isle of Man, like Macau, and like the Northwest 200. Turn your attention to the top left-hand corner for the lights. They will go red, then they will go, and we will be racing. They hold them a fair long while. The lights are red, and then they go out, and we are go. A great start from Carmelo Morales to blast past Max Scheib. That BMW can be a bit hard to get off the line, but after an initial good drag, it looks like Carmelo's dropped back, and it is Scheib who leads into turn 1 as Anthony Del Hall looks close behind it. Actually, looks like Christoph Ponson has gotten ahead. Oh, a big moment there. Not sure who that was for, but everybody does stay upright. That distinct sideways sail from Max Scheib. Scheib already opening up a big gap ahead of Anthony Del Hall. Christoph Ponson aggressive up the inside of Medina to slide through into third. Oh, a bike there just standing up on its own. Oh, that's Chris Cotton Russell, the Canadian. Disaster for him. Luckily it wasn't a fast crash as his bike sort of just went on and then just tipped over.
Ghost Rider.
Yep, Ghost Rider. Then just a little kiss to the ground. But the Canadian is all okay and now restarted, but his chance of points is over. Looks like here we will have a replay.
Turn 2. Oh, really weird line from...
And interesting to see because his bike was sliding and then it picked itself up, and as opposed to flipping over like you would normally see, just went straight for a little bit. So quite peculiar. Another crash here. Can't quite tell.
I think it's turn 10.
Yep, can't quite tell who that
Turn 10, I think it is, where I told you a lot of them crash at on the bright. Oh, no, it's turn...
That looks...
Turn 5?
Yep, turn 4.
Turn 4.
Yep, out of turn 4.
First right.
Yeah, it looks like...
Wow, look at the bike. Keep sliding.
Bit of contact there for number 10. That is Benjamin Coloche, the French rider for Team CMS. But out the front, it is Max Scheib, who is pushing to open up a gap. And it looks like he has opened up a pretty healthy gap. They will come across the line for the first time, and we'll be able to bring you an update on exactly what those timings are. Scheib 141.1. Almost 2 seconds ahead of Anthony Del Hall already. The rest of the field doing 143s. Carmelo Morales, some big problems there, actually. Not able to make as fast work as we would usually see. You know, Morales is definitely one who does work on his race place. There we see Christoph Ponson slide up the inside ahead of Medina, sorry, as he goes to chase Anthony Del Hall.
I actually really like the colors on Carmelo's bike. It's
they do look simply fantastic.
It's very classic, and I love when Yamaha kind of does that. We've seen it in the MotoGP class. It's great colors and brings back, you know, the old times, the good old times, like they say.
Exactly. And Carmelo Morales actually had a very busy day because he was acting as a bit of a mechanic for Lorenzo Della Porta when he had his dramas at the start of today. So, you know, fair play to Carmelo Morales. He's already done a full shift as a mechanic, and now he's out there racing, and it looks like it's going to be a matter of time before he gets past Medina. And Ponson can't quite get through on Medina, as Medina does throw out that big right leg as they come through turn 12 up into turn 13.
Carmelo knows it's critical every lap that goes by, because every lap that goes by, Scheib's going to create more of a bigger gap. And he needs to move on right now if he wants to try to win this race.
No doubt we will have at least an attempted move down into turn 1 thanks to all of that slipstream from the straight. There is Scheib, a huge, huge, huge advantage from the Chilean. And no, Carmelo can't quite do it. Bit surprised by that one. It is still Anthony Del Hall in second with Christoph Ponson in third. Then Medina fourth, and it looks like Morales is now trying to make his move. Nope, still can't do it. Morales does stay in sixth spot, sorry. There we go, Scheib into the 135s. Everyone else doing 136s or 137s.
That's fast.
So blistering pace from Scheib. Even not quite as fast as he went in qualifying, but certainly getting there. And it looks like now Morales has gotten through on Medina, and he is looking for a way past Ponson as well. Anthony Del Hall, who helped Suzuki win the World Endurance Championship this year as well. He's been a very busy boy and has been very competitive in both the World Endurance Championship and the CEV Championship, as we watch Carmelo Morales in yellow as opposed to his usual blue, hunting the green, number 3 of Christoph Ponson on the Kawasaki. Oh, sorry, that's not Christoph Ponson. I'm an absolute idiot. A huge discredit there. A huge discredit there to Fabrizio.
There you just saw.
Sorry.
Did you just see Carmelo go underneath Perotti?
Yeah.
That's the famous corner Rossi kept passing Iannone into in the race. I don't know if you saw, he passed Iannone into there, I want to say like 10 times during that race. And it's such a hard corner to kind of pass on, but he kept sticking it in there, and that's a great another corner. And I think Carmelo's actually, maybe he was watching Rossi's moves and trying them out. Today's race, there's Medina.
Yep, there is Medina through on Perotti. Perotti got forced a bit wide there. I'm not sure that was entirely Perotti's fault. Deepest apologies for confusing Perotti and Ponson. I am used to saying Ponson on a Kawasaki usually, but no, it looks like Perotti has now dropped back quite far down after being forced off track, and Carmelo is now making rapid progress to close in Anthony Del Hall. That last lap, Carmelo was about 0.3 of a second faster than Del Hall, so we'll have to see what he can do now. He does have a clear track in front of him.
If you see, he kind of closes the door a little bit too soon and gives him a little shove.
Yep.
And he's got nowhere to go.
Feet out. Nice and safe.
Unfortunate for him.
Yep, good start to the race for Perotti, though, as he does rejoin in a very safe manner, but very, very, very far down the field, unfortunately.
Carmelo's the only other rider in the 36s next to Scheib.
Yep, exactly, but Scheib does have a very dominant lead, 4 seconds. I'm not sure even Carmelo Morales is going to be able to close that one down. 16 laps to go.
Being the last race of the season, I know Carmelo's going to want to, you know, not just the last race of the season,
last
but
race ever.
And,
exactly.
And if you could win that one, it'll be his 40th win, like you said.
Exactly. Huge potential numbers on the line for Carmelo Morales, but right now it is Max Scheib, a man we are certainly going to see in some championship somewhere due to his absolutely incredible pace and incredible style. He's super aggressive, and that proves no different. And if you look in the back of your picture, it does look like Carmelo Morales has slipped through on Anthony Del Hall. Now, can Carmelo Morales close the gap to Scheib? Last lap, Scheib did a 136.2. Morales did a 136.3 when he was getting through traffic. Morales is going to have to hammer in those 135s if he does want to catch Scheib. The gap currently stands at 5 seconds. So, with 15 laps to go, half a second a lap is potentially doable if Morales can really stay focused. He could potentially still catch up with Scheib, and what a ride that would be from the king of the FIM CEV Repsol, Carmelo Morales.
Now, Carmelo, you know, has an open track and he can ride and do his own lap times and not worry to pass anyone else. And should be interesting to see the lap time he does, not this lap, but the next lap when he's all by himself without having to pass anyone.
Exactly, and hopefully we'll see another thrilling battle between Del Hall and Medina. Their battle in Jerez was absolutely beautiful as it went down to the last corner. Maybe a couple of elbows getting chucked in there as well for good measure. And here we go. There is Medina on the turquoisey leopard bike, chasing the blue and neon yellow bike of Del Hall. And then it is that distinct yellow speed block livery for Carmelo Morales out ahead. Morales is not breaking away from Del Hall and Medina as much as I thought he would. So now we see the gap again. Scheib did a 136.3. Morales did a 136.325. So that gap actually opens up to just over 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Medina slips through on Del Hall, but Del Hall immediately looks for a way back up the inside. The Frenchman on the Suzuki is looking for a way through on the young Spaniard. He can't quite do it, but one thing you can be sure of with Del Hall is that he will attack back almost straight away. Hyper aggressive from the Frenchman, always. Then just further back from this battle, we do have Ponson in 5th, Plassen in 6th, Uramoto 7th, Perotti after his great start to the race is in 8th, Topan 9th on his debut, Marin 10th, Pierre Texier 11th. Then we have Alves in 12th, Beach in 13th, Clement in 14th, Blazquez 15th, rounding out the overall championship points.
It's going to be a little lonely ride for Ponson. He looks like he's behind this 3-battle group here. It'd be interesting to see. Carmelo's struggling to kind of break away from Medina. Medina is actually riding pretty fast. I think he's the closest one to Carmelo and Scheib's times. But Scheib's just, dominating right now. And
Scheib is on another planet right now, the Chilean. He has made it look easy. 13 laps to go. When we crossed the line, he did a 136.3 last lap. He dropped to a 136.1 that lap. So Scheib, pretty easy for him to pound out the laps.
36.4.
Yep, from Carmelo. So that gap at the front continues to stretch open.
Del Hall's is the only one in 37s.
Yep, so it looks like Del Hall is
top 3
back a bit. Christophe Ponson actually a bit faster there than Del Hall, so he could potentially close in depending on how Del Hall's race fares, but we do still have 13 laps to go as we are on lap 7 of 19, so still a long way to go for Carmelo Morales. And as we saw in Jerez, Scheib has encountered fueling issues in the past. Of course, he did run out of fuel on, I believe it was the 3rd last corner, which did unfortunately cost him the championship, or else he could have taken the fight to Valencia. It still would have been an outside chance, but a chance nevertheless.
It's a good championship.
Packed grandstands. This is always the most popular round, as we said. It is right after the MotoGP race, which does help. People do stay for the test and for the race. And it is free. Oh, and there we go. We have an unfortunate crash for number 30.
British.
Rob McNeely come over from racing in some British club championships to try his hand in the CEV. And unfortunately, it ended up in the gravel, but good to see him walking away from that one.
Long, boring race for Scheib here.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just another low 36.
Yep, another low 136. Very, very consistent from him. What will Carmelo do? Carmelo, again, slightly slower, so that gap continues to open up just by a 10th or so each lap. But that's all you really need when you have a gap of 5 seconds already. As you know, a 10th here, a 10th there. It doesn't really matter too much at all.
Medina's keeps matching Morales' lap time, so it'd be interesting to see if them two can have a good battle towards the end of the race and put on a little show at least for this race, because at the moment there's not much action going on with all this these big gaps, but weather seems to stay the same. It's actually warming up a little bit more, but it's still that cool air temp that.
Yep, certainly, and still some pretty dark clouds do hang overhead. Anthony Del Hall putting in some pretty consistent lap times as well, but he's, as we said, in the low 137s, whereas the guys in front of him are doing mid to low 136s. It does look like Medina is doing pretty well to match the times of Carmelo Morales, and Medina's pace will definitely be something to keep an eye on as he's within distance. You know, it's a pretty significant gap, but he could certainly close it, especially with tyre life. As we said, we have had issues with the Michelin tyres in Valencia in the past with tyre life, having to reduce the first race of the year because of it. So it is something to keep in the back of your minds for all of you at home. There is Scheib, number 7. Number 7 cruising to victory right now. The gap just continuing to open up and up and up and up.
0.8 quicker than Morales, so he's flying. And Medina's actually gone a half a second nearly quicker than Morales, so he's really catching Morales now. He's right behind him already, and I don't think they're going to be much of a threat for Scheib in the whole race.
No, but we could certainly have a great battle for second place.
Morales seems to be struggling a little bit on the front. I've seen him already twice go wide into turn 4.
Yeah, Medina is definitely closing up. He has closed up huge amounts in just the first half of this lap already. We have to remember that at the start of the year, Carmelo Morales was forced to retire from this race with a flat rear tyre. As you said, he runs very wide there and allows Medina through. Medina slides through into second place. A great pass, sorry, from the rookie to get ahead of the most experienced rider on the grid.
Told you, Morales seems to be struggling a little bit on that.
He doesn't seem super confident with the front.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not leaning it over quite as hard, not hammering it in quite as hard, sort of. Yeah, very, very timid.
It's not the Morales we know. You know, we've always seen him super relaxed.
And there you could just see the bike moving around a fair bit as they came in, and then Medina just slipped up the inside. Nice and easy. Can Morales respond into turn 1? Or will Medina continue to stretch ahead? This is not something I thought we would see. I thought it was going to be an absolute clash of the titans at the front between Morales and Scheib, but no, it does look like Scheib is in a league of his own and is now age versus youthful exuberance. Number 55 versus number 31, Medina versus Morales. Morales is he's sticking with him. It's not like he's being dropped straight away.
No. Morales has the pace, you know, to stay with Medina for sure, and they're basically doing, you know, high or really low 37s, and Scheib's just, you know, keeping that constant 36s, and his race pace is really quick.
Scheib's pace is just incredible, I must say. Just continuing that gap now at 7 seconds. It's almost a Jorge Lorenzo-esque ride from Scheib. And Scheib is usually someone who we've seen had to battle through the field, you know, not always had the best starts, and has sort of struggled to get through the field at times, burn up his tyres a little bit, but no such issue. We're really seeing what he's capable of now when he does start at the front.
Yeah, and I think after, you know, losing the championship last race because of the gas problem, running out of gas, he wants to show the championship and Morales that he's actually better than the rest of these guys, and he wants to just dominate this race and say, hey, look, you know, I can win.
And it looks like they are already starting to come up on some back markers, unfortunately. It looks like that's Philip Legallo as well as Juan Luis Ortiz. Both of those guys pretty experienced, so we'll know to get out of the way. Very, very sharpish. Big leg out there for the number 66, Philip Legallo. Valentino Rossi-esque. And here we go, up on the back markers, yet Juan Luis Ortiz. No issues there as both of them slip past to continue their battle for second place. Philip Legallo also standing up and getting out of the way. Of course, Philip Legallo and Carmelo Morales are teammates. Anthony Del Hall didn't look too happy with Philip Legallo there. Give
him a little kick or something.
Yeah, a little bit of a love tap.
Thug.
And there we go. Medina has opened up a pretty nice advantage over Carmelo Morales.
Carmelo does not look comfortable on that front. He keeps going wide into that corner. And Medina just keeps on, you know, not getting big chunks of gaps, but just a little bit here and there. And he's created a 0.9, I think, yeah, 0.5 of a gap. And if Carmelo doesn't watch out, the Hall's coming too.
Exactly, and just look at Carmelo's bike as he goes through turn 13. It's bouncing all over the place. It is not stable at all. As you say, Anthony Del Hall is now rapidly closing down Carmelo Morales. Who would have ever thought that we would have seen Carmelo Morales finish off a podium at all in the CEV and be struggling so much in the last ever Superbike race? Hopefully he can respond. We do have 8 laps to go, so maybe set this up for the last 5 laps when the tyres are at their worst. Who knows? Medina is not running away and not opening up a big 2-second lead, so it's still all in play.
Look. Oh.
Not sure.
They were going to show.
I'm not sure exactly what that was a replay of.
Not sure. Didn't seem too exciting though.
No. But here we go. Looks like Morales is closing up on Medina now. So.
Oh, maybe Medina made a mistake.
Could be.
Went wide somewhere and Morales caught him back up.
Yeah, but this is certainly a 3-way battle for second place. Don't rule Anthony Del Hall out at all. Carmelo Morales definitely starting to pull the ripcord and is rapidly closing in on Medina. Not sure if he solved his problems or what has happened, but he is closing in on his fellow Spanish rider.
I like the Hall. He's just sitting there behind watching this hole.
It is the most patient I've ever seen Anthony Del Hall. He is usually hyper aggressive. But I don't know, as you say, he is playing it wisely to sit, watch, and wait and make sure that he doesn't make any silly mistakes. As there's Scheib. We've almost forgotten about him. That's how far ahead he is. He's already started next season almost. And meanwhile, all 3 of these riders continue to stay pretty close to each other.
And now they've all gone to top 4 into mid-36s. So they just went 0.6 quicker than the last 4 laps they've been doing. So, like I said in the Moto2 and Moto3 race, it seems to be the more laps they do, the quicker they get on.
Morales definitely now rapidly closing in on Medina. Is it issues for Medina, or has Morales overcome his issues? Both of those guys on the new Yamaha R1. A great motorcycle that has proved itself in a number of championships already. Of course, this is Carmelo Morales' 2nd title with the machine in the CEV in a row. Bit of a wider line there from Carmelo Morales as opposed to Medina. Try and carry that corner speed just a bit more. Try and, get a faster exit out due to that higher mid-corner speed. Number 31 chasing number 55. Can Carmelo Morales do something into turn 1? He has been strong there in the past. Again, a bit of a wobble there for Morales as they come through turn 13, taking a slightly wider line as they run down to the start-finish straight.
I've been looking at Scheib's times, and 1 lap he's quick, and then another lap he'll lose like a whole second. He just did a 37.6, which is basically 0.8 slower than the last lap he's done.
That lap he also had to get through some back markers, so maybe they slowed him up a bit. But
for sure,
with 6 laps to go and an almost 6-second lead, Scheib can probably afford to take it a bit easy, especially when he is around back markers. Because, this is one of the most dominant rides we've seen all year from any rider, to be honest. So what an absolutely fantastic way for Scheib to go out. Meanwhile, further down the field, Ponson is 5th, Euromoto is up to 6th, Plassen is up to 7th, Axel Marin 8th, Perotti is 9th, ahead of Pierre Texier. Ash Beach, the Brit, is 11th, Topan is 12th, Oscar Clement 13th, Alves 14th, and Blazquez in 15th place. So a nice little mix down there, all fighting for points. Max Scheib much more controlled and in line than we've seen him before. Here is Morales, as we said, still right with Medina. Again, they're coming up on back markers. That looks like that is Mika Hogland, teammate to...
Doesn't look like he sees the blue flag yet.
No, not yet. Hopefully he'll see it here and not just go slow on the racing line. Medina around the outside, but Morales up his inside. Not too much effect there from Hogland.
There's always that. Us riders, when we come up to a slow rider, the first thing we hope for is that they see the blue flag, because it really sucks when you have like a little lead and then because of a slow rider you've lost that lead. It's all that hard work you put into for absolutely nothing and you lose it in one corner.
Exactly. Carmelo Morales has made up that small disadvantage gained from having to go up the inside of the back market and is now right on the rear wheel of Alejandro Medina as we enter the last 5 laps of the race. Can Carmelo Morales finish his season on the number 2 step, or will he be forced to settle for 3rd place, which would be his worst racing result of the year apart from that DNF he had at the start of the year? Or will Anthony Del Hall pick up the pieces if Medina or Morales gets a bit too ambitious with the last corner move? Who knows? Hopefully we will find out very, very soon. It seems like at the start of the lap, Morales is much, much stronger than Medina, but in the second half of the lap, Medina definitely seems to have the pace over the Spaniard. So they make their way.
Del Hall seems to be struggling a little bit to keep the pace from Medina and Morales. It's kind of like comes and goes if these two passes each other. I mean, he's not giving up, but...
Yep, certainly Del Hall is more of a spectator than a participant in this battle for 2nd place. Max Scheib, well, he could almost stop and watch this race and still win it. And that's how far ahead he is. The gap back up to 6 seconds. Although the 2 guys behind him were marginally faster than Scheib, but with a 6-second gap. And
he can relax a little bit.
And only 4 laps to go. You know, he can drop a second a lap and still be quite comfortable. So no major issues there. But the big question facing us now is, can Morales pass Medina in these closing laps? Will the Yamaha pass the Yamaha? Will it be turquoise or yellow? That is the big question.
Again, talking about riding styles, Medina's got quite a unique riding style of just, you know, hanging his head really low under the bike. And it's always nice to see that.
Yep, exactly. Medina stepping up from Moto2 this year, so maybe still 1 or 2 Moto2 habits sticking with him, whereas Morales has been, you know, in the big bike class for a couple of years now. Of course, he has ridden Moto2 as well, but Morales is definitely more experienced and ridden a wider variety of bikes than Medina. But what else can we say about this man out the front? Max Scheib won the Stock 1000 race, the last Stock 1000 race of the year, and is now on his way to the most dominant victory we've seen this year, more or less. A thrilling ride. Of course, the BMW S1000RR is coming off the back of taking the triple at the Macau GP. Peter Hickman winning that race from Michael Rutter and Martin Jessup, all on BMW machines. So while the BMW hasn't done the best at World Championship, it is still a very fast motorcycle.
Everyone else kind of sticks their inside leg out, but Medina seems to stick out a little bit his outside leg. He does the opposite of what...
Yeah, I've noticed a few riders who will sometimes, I'm not sure if it's intentional.
I know.
Dangle, yeah, the outside leg, which seems
it looks kind of weird.
Risky.
Yeah.
But whatever he is doing, it is working, as Medina is currently still holding off Carmelo Morales, and Morales hasn't really had a chance to attack in these last couple of laps. He's just pretty steady in 3rd.
The Hall's just hanging in there. He's not quite giving up yet. It'd be interesting to see in these next 3 laps if he can give it his last little, you know, percentage left into him, and hopefully catch the group and give it an interesting battle.
Exactly, last race of the year. What does he have to lose? They're bringing out a new Suzuki next year, so even if he trashes the bike, it doesn't matter.
Well, let's hope he don't.
I'm sure that the team boss probably doesn't think that, but, you know. No, Max Scheib has already crossed the start-finish line about... No, sorry, no, he hasn't. That was a different motorcycle going past our commentary box.
No.
About now. Yep, there goes Scheib. Just past the Scheib, did a 137.4 again. These guys behind, still in the 136s, 136.8 for Medina, 136.7 for Morales. Bit of a shake of the head there for Morales as he runs wide. And gets dropped well and truly back. With 2 laps to go, I'm not sure if he can close that gap again.
And there's the hole right behind Morales.
Yep. And now he has Del Hall, and Del Hall also has that added incentive of having Morales in front of him. When you can see a rider, within half a second of you, how much is that an incentive for you, as a rider that they're so close? Does that help you to pick up the pace, or?
It's a good feeling when you're behind him for about 2 seconds and you slowly get closer to him. But if you're 0.5 behind him and you're already on your limit and struggling, it's not a good feeling. Because you're just trying to hang on for dear life to hope, please make a mistake here. Please just, let me hold on to you. And then, but it's clearly an advantage for the guy behind to, for some reason you subconsciously break deeper and gain that gap that if you were alone, you wouldn't gain. And that's why in qualifying, everyone's looking for toes in that, because it is a bonus into your pocket you can gain in that lap time that you're looking for in qualifying.
Well, speaking of incentives, Medina is clearly an incentive for Carmelo Morales, as he's had an absolutely incredible lap to close right back up on Medina once again as we come down the start-finish straight for the penultimate time. The last lap is underway. It is Max Scheib who does lead as these two come across the line. 5 seconds back on Scheib. There's no chance of them winning the race unless something happens at the front, but can Carmelo Morales get through on Medina? Carmelo Morales taking a wider line there to try and get more corner speed. He's right up the exhaust pipe of Alejandro Medina. Can he slip it through up the inside? Morales is definitely looking for a way through, but will Medina keep the door closed? Morales up the inside. Oh, bit of contact there. Oh, Morales clearly not too happy with Medina, but I don't think Medina's going to take it lying down. I think Medina's going to come right back at him. Look at that one. Oh.
I'm not sure when Morales was.
I think what had happened is that Medina had what he had done with the Italian rider at the start, pushed Carmelo a bit wide at turn 1. So that was a bit of payback from Carmelo. And here comes Medina again. There's no love lost between these two in this race. No, he has to be careful. Carmelo is riding hard, and Anthony Del Hall says, "Thank you very much. A race full of patience has paid off for the Frenchman."
Carmelo does.
Here Medina goes down and takes down Del Hall with him. No. Disaster for the two riders. Huge for Chris Ponton and Yuramoto behind. But absolute disaster for these two. Well, that all got a little bit aggressive in the end, didn't it?
Just a little bit. They saved best for last.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Max Scheib cruises to victory.
I know one thing. Do not mess with Carmelo.
No, do not mess with Carmelo Morales is the lasting message of the FIM CEV Repsol, because he will take it back. A big wheelie there. Almost Max Biaggi-esque from Max Scheib. Carmelo Morales secures a hard-fought second place, shall we?
Not sure if I'd rather him clean my bike than ride.
And here we go. Here is now the battle for third place. Do they know it is? Oh, Yuramoto. It looks like he almost lost the front, and there's going to be a photo finish there for third place.
So exciting.
Looks like Yuramoto might have had some contact there. Looks like his fairing is almost hanging off. So it is Christophe Ponton who does secure third place. Anthony Del Hall remounts to take 7th place. Good job to you, sir. And then it looks like Medina has also remounted after crashing. Well, the drama just doesn't end at all. It's absolutely incredible here today.
I'd love to see the replay of those passes.
I'm sure we will get to see it. You can probably stick around for the highlights, because we are now doing the interviews after the podium. So you can definitely stick around to see the highlights. There is the man of the moment. We unfortunately didn't get to see very much of him at all, because he had such a great ride. And there is Carmelo Morales in yellow. Perhaps it should be in black.
Yes, he should.
Yeah, the dark side of Carmelo Morales coming out. I mean, none of the moves were over the line. They were certainly very hard.
There were some, hey, I'm here, move out of the way, or hey, this is payback for what you did last time.
Exactly. You will be chanting him as he is the champion, so maybe a question or two about what he was thinking about Medina in that race. But no, Carmelo Morales will go out as the undisputed king of the Superbike class. You know, it was Scheib who put his stamp on the last race, and a great way for Scheib to go out. You know, Scheib is the young up-and-comer, and Scheib does have his whole career ahead of him. Morales definitely has a couple of good years racing ahead of him. You know, heard rumours he might go over to Moto America and join Tony Elias and you know, those sort of guys. So, yeah, exactly. Cordy, lots of international names there, fighting with guys like Josh Heron and Hayes and Bobier and, you know, all those established American names.
And I think it's a really good place to go for these guys. And I think they'd love the country, the racetrack. And I think these guys with if they're on top of any bike, any championship, they're happy. And I don't see why not.
And you can definitely tell that with Morales. Morales really just loves riding and racing motorcycles.
Just like Josh Hayes, you know, he's been there for years. I think he's 37, 38, and he still loves the sport, and he's still there. He's still winning, and I can't see why Carmelo can't be another guy like that.
Exactly, and as we know in motorcycle racing, passion so often does lead to speed. As they come back into Parc Fermé for the last time this year, and unfortunately the last time ever for this Superbike class. Here we go. Here are the final race results. What a race it was. Max Scheib, untouchable the entire race, beat out Carmelo Morales. Christoph Ponson getting a bit lucky for third place. Euromoto almost lost the front on the straight, ahead of Axel Marin in fifth. Ole Bjorn Plassen, the top privateer rider, in sixth. Anthony Del Hall, seventh after being taken out. Perotti dropped down to eighth. Alejandro Medina managed to salvage ninth place after messing with the wrong man. Pierre Texier rounds out the top 10. Ash Beach, the top British rider. Rafid Topan in 12th, Austin Clement in 13th, Javier Alves in 14th, Roberto Blazquez rounds out the points, Dumas in 16th, Hutchins in 17th, Mika Hoglund in 18th in that Privateers Championship. Michael Peterson there ahead of Juan Luis Ortiz and Philip Lagallo, with Marius, Booth, Yarno, McNeely, Gibson, Cotton all failing to finish the race, unfortunately. But it was a race full of drama. It's been a season full of drama. The CEV, as ever, is fantastic. And we'll be bringing you through the highlights of the race in just a little second right here. Of course, we do still have the Moto3 race coming up after this. So if you are watching, don't go anywhere, because we still do have that title to be decided. But right now it is all about these guys on the big bikes. Fantastic race. Really, really aggressive from the old Warhorse. Here we go. Here are the race highlights. The red flag went out, and it was Max Scheib who shot forward like a snake up a drain pipe. I believe that saying is actually right up a drain pipe, but whatever. Max Scheib there outleading. Anthony Del Hall had a great start to the race as well. Drama further back as Chris Cotton Russell crashed his bike standing up and then going for a little trip. A couple of other guys going wide. Then we had some crashes further back. Marsh was quick to react there. Luckily, everybody walked away unhurt. Then Scheib pushed hard over another 2-second advantage in the first lap. Meanwhile, Carmelo Morales tried to recover from a bit of a bad start, unfortunately, and Carmelo Morales definitely had a tough fight on his hands with Medina and Del Hall there. No such issues for Scheib out the front. There is Medina pushing one rider wide at turn 1. Try saying that 5 times fast. Luckily, Perotti was able to rejoin the race further down. Scheib just absolutely untouchable in this race. Carmelo Morales soon hit the front in that battle for second place, chased by Del Hall, but it would be Medina who would ultimately pose as the biggest challenge to him. Medina did very, very well to actually close down a pretty significant gap on Carmelo Morales during the end stages of that race. And then it would be a battle between those two for the victory. And what a battle it turned out to be. That was just the first of a couple of passes, and that pass was not too bad at all. Out the front, it was Scheib continuing to just be on rails almost, as Medina and Morales, a couple of close and hard moves between them. It only got more intense as the race went on. Medina forced to stand up there, then Medina tried a bit too hard, then lost the front. His front taking out Del Hall's rear. Disaster for both of them, but both of them able to remount and finish in the top 10. And there we go, big wheelie from Scheib to celebrate. As Carmelo Morales crosses the line in second place to secure another podium this year. Of course, Morales only finishing off the podium once. An absolutely masterful burnout from Scheib there. That rear Michelin is going to be shagged. But Dakota is now off to get those interviews after we go to the Superbike podium, of course. It is the last one of the year and the last one ever. And once again, much like Moto2, we will have this podium, then the championship podium, then the 2 interviews. It is a jam-packed schedule for you here today. There we go, the Chilean flag, the Spanish flag, and the French flag. Big handshakes between them, while Morales may have had an issue or two with Medina. He certainly doesn't have an issue with either of those guys on the podium with him there as one of the Targa Bank team, overjoyed to be receiving that trophy. Bit of a quick chit-chat on the podium just about how the race went and how the tyres went. Tyres are always a big talking point between these riders. It's always a hot topic of conversation. Certainly if you want to have a good dinner conversation with any of these riders, then tyres are the way to go. And Ponson actually gets the oversized novelty fuel check because Scheib and Morales have gotten it so much that they are quite literally swimming in fuel. And there you can see Ponson in his Pedicini Kawasaki leathers from his time in the Superbike paddock there. Morales with his second place trophy. Carmelo Morales has a second house just for his trophies, I would assume, because he has been on the podium so many times. You know, 11 titles across a multitude of different classes in the CEV Championship. Scheib looks pleased with that one. We'll now get to hear the Chilean national anthem for just the second time this year.
Un aplauso para los 5 premiados.
Take a bow, Max Scheib. You started the year in style and now you're ending it in equal style with victory. A quick photo with the top 3. They're waiting for Plassen to come up there. Plassen, of course, this is his first time as the top privateer rider, so he is a bit unsure of the procedure, but look, he is happy as Larry to be up there with all of those guys. Of course, you know, guys like Plassen are not racing professionally. You know, this is just a bit of a hobby between them, for them. And now the Carver does fly. Of course, no need to reuse those leathers this year unless they are taking part in an event such as the Super Prestigio later in the year. I know Carmelo Morales is a clean, flat tracker. Great to see such a jovial atmosphere up on the podium between those 4 riders. That's exactly what makes the CEV so great. And here we go. Here's Carmelo Morales' championship winning year. He dominated and had some hard battles with the likes of Barragan and Scheib, and he hardly put a foot wrong after that disastrous tyre issue in the first race. Win after win came for Morales, and he truly cemented himself as a god of the CEV and a role model for all young riders to look up to. And of course, he would have loved to have had his great rival, great friend, Kenny Noyes here alongside him. But of course, Noyes was unable to race this year after that crash at Aragon the previous year. No doubt Carmelo Morales will be dedicating this championship to Kenny as he did last year. The 2 massive friends and massive rivals out on track as well. Carmelo Morales, Larry to his friends, is the undisputed king of the FIM CEV Repsol Superbike Championship. and always has time to take a phone call, even after a race win. So we will be getting the interviews in just a second. And then it will be on to the last race of the year, the Moto3 race. Here is the championship podium. Of course, it is Carmelo Morales who does take to the top step as the champion. His 11th title in the CEV. So many victories. So many podiums. Just an absolutely formidable rider in this class. Then Max Scheib proved himself as a name to watch with second place, and Alejandro Medina, another one who I hope gets a really good ride for next year, because Medina, along with Scheib, huge amounts of talent, and it would be a shame to see it go to waste. You know, possibly somewhere in the Superbike paddock, Super Stock, certainly, or maybe somewhere like BSB or Moto America. And there is your champion, Carmelo Morales. It's a feeling that doesn't get old on the top step of the podium. And now the Spanish anthem.
Ese aplauso para el campeón de Europa.
Applause for the top three of the European Championship. Who knows what the coming year holds for them, but hopefully it is full of more motorbikes and more victories, because all three of those men standing up there are hugely talented. Pit lane is currently roaring to life for the Moto3 race, so as I said, be sure to stick around because it is going to be a cracker. We'll now hear from Carmelo Morales. There is the Moto3 bikes going out on the grid, getting ready for their last race of the weekend and the last race of the year overall. A couple of big wheelies out of pit lane there for a couple of the guys. Hopefully it's a slightly less dramatic start to the Moto3 race than we had earlier.
Great race, dominant.
And here's the interview.
From lap one, you created that good gap, and great job. Scheib, buena carrera. Has hecho una carrera muy dominante y ni Carmelo ni nadie podía contigo. Explica un poco qué tal ha ido.
Oh, it's for me the best race of my life. I am very happy because finish the championship by this way. I feel that I improved my riding race by race. So really happy. Just now thinking in the next year because we are going to make a big change and we hope to be successful in other championships. So wow, and also a little bit sad because this championship is over, and I think it's a really competitive. Also this race was very competitive, a lot of riders, and also happy for this last race.
¿Y en español?
Bueno, feliz, con un poco de sensaciones encontradas después de esta última carrera. Seguramente es la mejor de mi vida, la que más satisfecho me ha dejado. Subimos a administrar bien la carrera y finalmente una sensación increíble después de haber ganado, feliz por mí y mi equipo. Y bueno, hacemos un cambio en mi carrera deportiva que espero vaya bien y nada, realmente contento, feliz por la última carrera, que haya tanto nivel y tanta gente y tantos pilotos que se sumaron a esta carrera, ¿no? Es una gran categoría y una lástima. Nada, gracias a toda la gente, gracias a BMW, a Easy Race por este gran año. Y nada, toda la gente que me apoya, mis amigos, la gente de Chile que esperaba que ganara hoy.
Muchas gracias.
What a season it has been for that young man there. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot fault him for that
Carmelito, carrera al final con Medina, unos piques bonitos para ver, pero dime un poco las sensaciones de la carrera. Creo que parecía que tenías problemas un poco con el delantero, pero nada, y también campeón, ¿sabes? De Superbike. Espera que lo digo en inglés. Carmelo, very good race. Some good battles there with Medina at the end of the race, but here you are, champion of Superbike, last race of the season and forever. What's your feelings?
Bueno, este fin de semana la verdad que ha sido muy difícil, ¿no?, para nosotros, porque en ningún momento hemos encontrado un buen balance de la moto, y mira que hemos hecho muchas pruebas desde el viernes, pero ni aún así he encontrado un buen ritmo, ¿no?, de cara a la carrera. Y bueno, ya sabía que Maxi aquí, la verdad que ayer demostró que tenía un buen ritmo, y bueno, mi intención era pues acabar bien un fin de semana sin ninguna caída, y bueno, o sea, lo hemos intentado, ¿no? Hemos dado nuestro máximo, pero eso que te he dicho, no íbamos muy a gusto con los neumáticos. Y bueno, al final con Medina, pues al final he tenido algo de enfado con él, porque a falta de 2 vueltas me quería dejar pasar, pero hemos llegado a la primera curva, y él ha frenado muchísimo más antes para dejarme pasar, y yo venía muy concentrado para recortar en la frenada, y me ha venido muy justo de no impactar con él, y ese ha sido mi enfado, ¿no? Pero bueno, son muy jóvenes, hay que aprender de los errores, y espero que lo tengan en cuenta en el futuro. Y bueno, esta carrera no va a ensuciar este bonito año que hemos hecho, ¿no? Ha sido un año muy bueno para mí, si no uno de los mejores con el equipo, y bueno, hemos tenido el rival que ha sido muy fuerte, o sea que felicito a mi equipo y a mi rival.
Muchas gracias.
Venga, gracias.
In-depth interview as ever from Carmelo Morales there. We will now shortly be cutting over to the Moto3 race, the last one of the year. But before that, we will quickly run down the final championship standings. Of course, that man in yellow, Carmelo Morales, who does see out the year as champion, 22 points ahead of Maximilian Scheib. Alejandro Medina secured 3rd ahead of Anthony Del Hall, who didn't even compete the full season. Pierre Tiexier is 5th. Nico Macklin wins the Privateers Championship in 6th ahead of Iki Kuparainen. Oscar Clement is 8th, and Thiago Magalas is 9th and 3rd in the Privateers Championship. Santiago Barragan, who missed most of the season due to a broken leg in Albacete, is 10th ahead of Guillermo Llano. Chris Cotton Russell is 12th, although Bjorn Plassen is 13th. Marco Solorza is 14th, Roberto Blazquez there. Then Uramoto jumps up to 19th with just that one race finish. Mika Hoglund 20th, Axel Marin 21st, Ulrigaro 22nd, Bonastra 23rd, and so on and so forth. Lots of those names did not do complete seasons. Lots of them only did 1 or 2 rides here or there. Hence why some of those former, very established and championship challenging names like Bonastra are a bit further down the order. Hello and welcome to the last FIM CEV Repsol race of the year. We're at the famous Circuito Ricardo Tormo Valenciana, and if race 1 was anything to go by, this race is a must-watch. Of course, it's the last FIM CEV Repsol Moto3 Junior World Championship race of 2016. It's the final countdown to the final race of the year. 18 laps, 8 points, 2 riders, 1 championship. It is all on the line right now. I don't think I've ever seen a race as dramatic as race 1 here. My name is